Well, everyone being here, so it's gonna be a little crazy. I've got 4 amps set up. Yeah, I went nuts. So I'm gonna be using my Eddie Van Halen 5150 Iconic 3 40 watt, and then my Fender Supersonic 22 watt, then my Marshall DSL 20 10 and 20 watts, but I have it on the 10 watt. And then my Fender Deluxe, Hot Rod Deluxe. And let's see what happens. I've got cables everywhere. I've got them all set up all funky, so I don't know how it's going to pick up the tone or the sound exactly. But we'll see what happens. Bear with me. Let me just put you on a brief pause like that. Boom. So, it's a bit precarious. I have it in the stand, elevated the stand, and then I have it standing on the bed. Just try to get a panoramic view. So, let's see what happens. The first one is my Eddie Van Halen. Yeah, I got them pretty much dialed in, sounding the same as best I could. It sounds a little bit louder. Yeah, you can tell I'm a little bit tired of playing. I've been doing this for an hour now. And then I decided to record it. So here's the Marshall. Yeah. That doesn't sound loud enough. Yeah, so switching around. So what I did here is, I'll explain in a minute. I plugged it into the second input, which is slightly, ever so slightly lower volume than the first input. And I'll explain in a minute. So, moving on up. Let me go in reverse order, pretty much. That sounds a little bit louder, sorry. Now up to the 5150. Fitted one fitted. Fitted, I fitted cents. 50 cents. Ran into him once, he lived down the road from me. So, that is it, basically. And so the 5150 Eddie Van Halen was my go-to all the time, and I prefer to play through this before the other three. However, this 40-watt cabinet weighs a ton. You know, to pick it up by the handle, it's a lot for me, you know, at my age. So to carry this from the floor, you know, and out the door, I get about 4 feet and I'm ready to put it back down again. Now the Fender Deluxe, Hot Rod Deluxe, the tweed one, that one's 40 watts as well. When I pick that up by the handle, I could go a good 10, 12, 15 feet with it before I get tired and I want to put it down. It's got a lot of juice. And although the gain is only on 2 on the Eddie Van Halen, and I stack it with pedals, I had it stacked with 2 pedals at one time here, my Demon FX and my cow line. And then once I got on here, I realized I turned the cow line off. I should have did that with the other ones. So, yeah, that one sounds great. You know, nothing wrong with it. The trick to this thing here, I might mess the whole thing up, is I run those cables, the patch cables, in the send and return, and I plugged into the second output on it. Now I don't know if I'm putting this in the right spot or not. Let me see. Yeah, it's good enough. So the first the first input, it's like pure 40 watts. It's super loud. I guess if it's made for 2, if you wanted to plug 2 guitar players into it at the same time. That's what I always thought when I was a kid. The second one is a little bit lower. So with the second one being a little bit lower, when I plugged into the first one, I was playing it in the second input. That's why the volume was set right. When I plugged it in to the first input, it was, you know, I was all over the place with the volume. And the reason why I did that with the send and return is I saw on a previous video that creates like a noise gate within the amplifier. And again, I would have to plug into it and unplug and plug it in to show you, you know, to demonstrate that. Let me see if I could do that right now, because you're probably gonna say, well, let's see it, dude. And I don't blame you. So let's see. Put on the, those are the same pedals I had. So you can hear it. Now when that's the sound. So the humming and buzzing is a little bit louder. And I plug in the cable and boom. A little bit quieter. So ever so slightly, but it's still a little bit quieter. Without it, because I'm sitting right in front of it, I would get feedback. I want to stand up like that, but worse. You hear it already? You hear? And I'm muting the strings. So, do that. Plug it into the second one, and it's a lot quieter. Even with the two pedals that are stacked, it's a lot quieter. You can hear that difference. That's the volume off, volume on. So that's how I like to run that amp. Do I need it? No. Is it cool to have? It's fun to have a hot rod Fender Deluxe tweed 40 watt 112. That's, you know, gives you channel switching and comes with this pedal. You can see this, you can't see it. Comes with the pedal, so you can switch it. Hot mode, cold mode, whatever it is, boost. So, yeah, for the price of that one there, something's funky with this switch. There you go. And again, you playing it clean, you get that. That's the Fender tone right there. So, yeah, that's the only difference there. I plug it into the second input and I use the patch cable for the send and return just to give it a little bit of a noise gate. Now, that doesn't work with every amplifier. I tried it with the Supersonic. I think I tried it with the Marshall, and I don't think I got the result as the Hot Rod Deluxe. I didn't try it on the Eddie Van Halen because all the stuff is in the back, and all the knobs are in the back on the top and stuff like that. So yeah, I was looking for something smaller and lighter. There is a tone difference between the Marshall DSL 20 and the Fender Supersonic 22, and I tried like basing this up and turning the gain down. The gain on this amp is like 2, it's on 2. So let me just plug into that again. Yeah, See, I get that. Just got a little bit more grit than the other ones because it's a Marshall. And I have that stacked again. Hear how quiet it is with the K-line and with the Demon FX attack drive. Yeah, I mean Andy Timmons clone. The I forget what it is. Renegade, K-line Renegade. What I have it on is the Tube Screamer side. The other side is it's a copy of a Tube Screamer. The other side is a copy of a Timmons. So yeah, I think for the tonal difference, I could deal with it, and I could take that out when I'm gonna go out and play. When I'm gonna do a gig or go to Hank's. I think I could take the Marshall, but I will try to carry the I will try to carry this one first. If I can get this one from the room here through my house into my garage in my car, you know, effortlessly, then I'd rather bring that. If it's too much, if I get like 10, 15 paces and I gotta put that thing down, then I think I'll go with the Marshall. But you know, those are the 4 tones right there. And again, I wish I could do a tilt back on the Fender and the Marshall like these are to project the sound up, so I really don't know what the phone's gonna pick up on it at all. And that's about it. Oh, and I also have the that extra button pushed on here, the tone something, just to again, it just cuts down on all the mids and gives me that, you know, that soft kind of distortion, not like a really heavy 70s, you know, 79 rock or 80 something. Yeah, got a lot of juice for 10 watts right now there, so you want to hear it on 40 watts. Yeah, crazy. So 10 watts are fine. And I've seen a ton of videos on these where guys are saying, I've been asked if the DSL-20, you know, is good enough to play in an apartment or a bedroom, and they're saying, no, go with the 5 watt. You go with the 5 watt and you don't get the same sound, you don't get the same tone, the same gain, you don't get the same features as the DSL-20. And I've got it on 10 watts and you could adjust the volume. Well, you got a volume knob on a freaking amp, so use that. You know, I put everything the way I want it on a low volume, and I make sure I get the sound they want. Of course, when you turn the volume up, you might have to change all the settings that you have. You know, the tone, the bass, the middles. But that's just, you know, that's the thing. I think this is better than the 5 watt for those, because if you start off with the 5 watt and then you want to actually play with somebody, play with a band, go out somewhere, you could actually take this with you. I'm sure as shit you can't take the 5 watt with you and expect to play with a drummer and a bass guy with that thing. So, you know, it's like when VHS came out. You know, you can get VHS, and then they came out with a 2-head. And then after everyone was buying up the 2 heads, they made a 4-head. And after everyone was buying up the 4-head, they made the 4-head in stereo. And then after everyone bought up the 4-head in stereo, they went to DVD. You know, and then they went from DVD to Blu-ray, just to get your money. My point is that, you know, that's perfect. That's perfect. That's just as good as, in my opinion, the 40 watt. It projects the volume. It projects the sound. It doesn't feel boxy like the Fender Junior that I had. You know, this actually, I could feel it coming out. I could feel it, you know, filling the room up, much like any other amp that's in here. The Fender Junior that I had, the Blues Junior, I think it was, and that was a 12-inch speaker. That, you know, it felt like it was an 8-inch speaker or 10-inch speaker, and you had to be right in front of it in order for you to really truly hear what it sounds like. So, and that's all I got to say about that. Hope you enjoyed the video, and yeah, I want to just play this back because, like I said, I don't need the Fender Deluxe, the Hot Rod Fender Deluxe Tweed. I really don't need it. You know, now I've got these three and my Fender Princeton over there, so I just like it. it just looks so cool and it sounds good. And do I need it? No. But do I want it? Yeah. You know, it's one of those things. But I want to hear it back on my TV. Hopefully, it'll sound better. It'll sound as good as I think it is. Thanks for watching. Have a good day and a better tomorrow. This keeps on flashing at me.